Welcome to our monthly local governance and community development live forum here on the Serenity Resource Connector. So, have you ever wondered what happens in the council chamber outside of the general council meeting? Because we would have shared when we just started this program in 2022 that there are different arms. You have the council arm of the chamber, of the municipal corporation rather, and the administrative arm. In 2023, we would have gone through updates from the various divisions from the different councillors. So we are starting a series now looking at the different committees of the municipal corporation, what exactly they do, and the administrative arm that supports them. And so we are going to be starting out with our infrastructure and traffic management committee, looking at key insights and future plans. And we have with us here, the plan was to have the chairman for the, as you saw on the flyer, for the committee. However, he's having some technical challenges, and who best to sit in for him than our mayor, Joel Williams, who is the chair for the council, overall council. And of course, he would have been around for a long time and would have knowledge of all the various committees and all that happens at the council chamber. Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen, welcome back to the
Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator.
All right. I am so looking forward to this, and I saw a number of likes when the flyer was shared, suggesting that others are also looking forward to hearing more about what happens in these committees and how it all comes together. So let's dive right in, and we are going to be bringing on the administrative arm in a little while, so stay put for that one. But let's hear from Mayor. But just before I get to Mayor, for those who are tuning in, whether live or you're watching the replay, if this is your first time tuning in, I am Winsome, founder and executive director for Serenity Resource Connector, and I have the awesome privilege of hosting, moderating these segments Thursdays at 8 p.m. This particular forum is brought to you in partnership with the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, and we go live every fourth Thursday. So, Mayor, tell us, what are the key responsibilities of the Infrastructure and the Traffic Management Committee and the role of the chairman, who is your deputy mayor, Councillor Clive Mundell?
Good evening to you, Madam Moderator. Again, good evening to your listeners, your viewers, those who are in line with us for this wonderful program this evening. Well, the Infrastructure Committee's responsibility is to make sure that the infrastructure of the parish, i.e. your market, your roads, your parks, all those areas that falls under the responsibility of the municipal corporation, to in the best shape, if I may use that word. Your bridges, for us to make sure that those infrastructure are standing up, basically. The kind of weather we are having now, not normal like 40 years ago. And so we have to make sure that all of these areas are in good condition, to make sure that whenever time it can carry the people within the community, within the parish. We're responsible for ensuring equitable access to roads, bridges, public utilities, and other essential services. So the responsibility of the chairman of that committee is to make sure that at all times those infrastructure are in good condition, so that the parishioner or people within the parish will have access to those amenities.
All right. It might sound simple, but that seemed like a very tall task.
It is. It is. It is.
All right, but we'll learn more in a little bit. But how does the committee prioritize infrastructure projects across Clarendon, particularly
Well,
in areas that have the landslides and flooding. You're talking about we're in the hurricane season now, a lot of rain. Talk
mhm.
us through the decision-making process as to how you
Well,
go about.
you have pivotal in all of this is our engineer. If we're going to be doing a piece of road, our engineer would have to go there, they would have to check, they would have to do all that is necessary. They would have to make sure that the road is properly compact, to make sure that it can stand the test of times. Because we expect that when you do a road, um, we're expecting that road should last between 5 to 8 years before you need any remedial work to be done on it. So the engineer is very critical in that aspect of the our infrastructure committee. Equally, the engineer have to make sure that there are aspects of our hilly terrain. For example, up in the hills of northern Clarendon, northwest Clarendon, we have landslide in those areas frequently. And the engineer has to make sure that at all time we have all the tools that are necessary. So when those landslides do happen, we can have those areas cleared quickly so that the citizens can go about their business in a very smooth way. So it's not an easy job, and especially in a time like now, you and I know that the farmers who goes and cut down the trees in some of these hilly areas, the trees, the plants are what would have held these soil together. Once these are removed, then we're expecting that we're going to have landslide. So the role of the engineer and the municipal corporation is very critical, especially in those areas. And if you're talking about those areas now that are on the plains, what is critical there is drain cleaning. You have to make sure that all your drains are in good shape once we are moving into the rainy season. So the job of the infrastructure committee is critical, to the development of the parish, and to give access to the people who maneuver these corridors on a daily basis.
Right. But for those people in, say, northern Clarendon who might say they haven't had their road fixed in years, how do you determine which community, which roads get fixed when you have most of the roads deteriorating, especially now when you have a lot of potholes and so on forming
We do
in
we
different
do
areas?
have consultation from time to time, but you depends on the engineer, whether it's through the National Works Agency or through the municipal corporation, to guide us. Equally, the political representative, whether it be the councillor or the member of parliament. And I do know that from time to time, a number of communities, citizen association, they would make recommendation to the municipal corporation as it relates to roads in various communities. Um, and so you have various ways of fleshing out which are the major roads to be done. I give you an example. For me in Maypen, I know the areas that are heavily trafficked. You have some roads that are heavily used by the um, taxi operators, the citizens in and around Maypen. If you notice recently, I would have done a piece of road between the New Testament Church and Glenmere Road.
Yes, thank
Even
you for
though
that.
it's a even though it's a small area, that
Heavily
road
trafficked.
it does impact on how the traffic flows in the town of Maypen. So I normally look for those roads in consultation with the citizens, in consultation with the um taxi operators, business people. Another important road to Maypen is Jackson Street, Georges Street. And it is important because our drainage system between Guinea Tree and Tiger Market has outgrown its usefulness. So when we have heavy rain and you cannot go, you're going, let's say you're going to the north or south, you can't go down a main street because you're going to have to wait for a long time before that water recede. We make sure that the corridor from Glenmere High School, Jackson Street, Georges Street is in good shape. So you would you're coming out of the town, you're going to Four Paths, you just slip through Anderson Drive and come down that corridor. You have less water to contend with. So it is very, very important that those of us who are the political representative work very closely with our citizens, citizen association, and all the stakeholders group, so that we can say to you, this is what we're going to do, that is what we're going to do, this corridor is important, let's do this one, and so forth.
Okay. All right. And as you mentioned, in terms of the traffic flow, traffic congestion is a big issue, especially in areas like Maypen. And I know, based on the discussions last year and experience, Frankfield, Kellett, those town centers usually have congestion issues. Share with us the committee's plans for traffic management and any upcoming initiatives aimed at easing congestion for the citizens, Clarendon.
Well, as a council, we have been very, very proactive as it relates to our traffic management. I think between 8 to 10 years ago, I've said to the former mayor, he is now deceased, God rest his soul, Milton Brown, that the traffic flow in Maypen is incorrect. It's very poor. I have not gone anywhere and see your traffic flowing out of your town. Your traffic's supposed to be flowing in. I can't have somebody come in to see my Mrs. Witter and the person have called me from Mineralites and said to me, how do I get into your town? Huh? Or call me from Glenmere Road and say, how do I get to the center of the town? The town is our economic base. So it should be pretty easy to get into your town. So what we have done over the last few years, we have set out to look at the structure of the traffic movement within the town of Maypen. We have recognized that we will now have to do what you call a total revamp of what we have now. Many of the roads now we will have to turn into one ways. So we have reached out to the National Works Agency. They came in, they have looked at what we have, and they are in the process now of finalizing the final aspect of what we are looking to roll out. And the chamber will be called in short order. We have had some meetings already with some of our stakeholders. And the part of the recommendation is that I would like to see you coming off Glenmere Road. You get to the stoplight, it must be one way into the town. I must not have persons coming into the town to do business and they're asking me how to get to the center of the town. So it's going to be two-way traffic up into the center of the town and to your business district in the area of the municipal corporation and the courthouse.
All right,
On the
thank you.
survey that they have done, they as in the National Works Agency, it tells us that they're going to be erecting 15 stoplights in and around the town of Maypen. So many of those roads that you're have your traffic flowing two ways now will become one way in short order. And that's the reason why we have been developing some of these side roads. I've completed the one at New Testament, and we are moving to Penguin Key shortly, because these are small roads, but they are critical to how the traffic moves within the business district.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure what's happening with my camera over here, but let me know if you're hearing me.
I am hearing you well.
Are fantastic. So the show is yours. I'm just guiding in terms. All right, you mentioned earlier, very important part in terms of citizen engagement. Tell us how
Mhm.
the community feedback is integrated into the infrastructure planning and execution, and how residents can engage the committee to ensure their concerns are addressed.
Just last week, Thursday night, I had a beautiful meeting with the Glenmere Citizen Association and resident from Denver Crescent, where I was outlining to them the our plans for that entire area. And I think I've had that discussion with you before, because that area has been developed into a very beautiful community. And I call it the Glenmere Triangle, because within that space, you have several different entities. You have the Glenmere High Schools, you have a matter of fact, I call it a school district because you have several schools within that space. We're looking at developing a park along that space. So I engage the citizens so that they can have an understanding of what it is that we are proposing, what it is that we're looking at, to how we're going to develop the area, so that their homes and their businesses can flourish, as do they would have easy access to a number of the amenities that is required in and around those spaces.
All right, fantastic. All right, so we continue before we bring on the engineer.
And more so, Madam
Go
Moderator,
ahead.
if I may say, with the emergence of the new highway, you know that you just come off the highway and you're now on Glenmere Road.
That's right.
That corridor is going to be critical, and we are doing everything possible to make it very attractive. So when you come into Mapen and when you come off the highway and when you enter Glenmere Road, you must feel like you're in Miami.
All right. Fantastic. Love it. All right. So we're expected to see all those sideways perfectly groomed if you're in
Yes,
Miami, right? And
indeed,
the
indeed,
palm
indeed.
trees too.
Indeed, right now, I can assure you, I can tell you that I think it was about 2 months ago, we have planned. You might look at to the left of King's Chemical. We have put in a number of plants there. They are among the grown little trees there now, but in short order, you will see that hillside blooming with flowers. They are right there in this that space now.
All right. Fantastic. And to round out this segment, um, given Clarendon's vulnerability to natural disasters, we have seen it in the recent rains and the hurricane. What
Mhm.
steps is the committee taking to improve the resilience, especially for critical infrastructure?
What we'll have to do, if I may say, and to you and my listeners and viewers, just yesterday, I would have gone through with the National Works Agency. We have identified 10 of our major roads under the Spark program, and they were in the town and around the constituency yesterday, going through with me and doing the scoping on those 10 roads. So in short order, um, possibly before the end of this year, I'm sure some of those roads will begin. Because once you have and then once those roads are in place, we have to now make sure, because one of the failure of governance is that we put in infrastructure and we fail to maintain them. So we're going to have to put in when we put in those infrastructure, we're going to have to maintain them. We're going to have to make sure that drains are there. We have to make sure that those areas are well kept, groomed, clean. And I think once we start to do those things, you will see your town start to get the kind of create the kind of ambience that you want to see a town looking like.
Indeed. All right. And Dr. Lavelle is here. Thanks for joining us always. All right. Saying that this topic is long overdue. Hoping it makes an effective change. All right. And
Indeed.
we're going to be a part of that change that we want to see.
And I know Dr. Lavelle would have just sent me a letter as it relates to a number of bus stops that he wants to help to make sure that they are kept in good condition for those, because that's again is a part of our infrastructure.
Right. He loves your projections. All right. Geography Jawade says, Mayor, I'm pleased with your traffic plans for Maypen. For too long, this town has been the only major town in Jamaica with less than one traffic signal.
Yes.
One, the road infrastructure of the town, and he continues, of Maypen certainly needs upgrading. Trenton Road in particular needs to be upgraded, leading up to the bridge. It currently has an ugly look. All right.
And let him know that I have two persons who are assigned to that corridor now. And their responsibility every 2 months, I think it is, that corridor is to be clean, groomed, look proper. And it is one of the roads that is on the program also to be resurfaced in short order. And Paisley Avenue.
Okay. All right. Welcome, Lady Dillon. Thank you for joining us. Another of our community leaders here. Lloyd is over on Facebook saying good initiative. All right. Thank you so much, Lloyd. For those on Instagram, we're not able to see your comments. So if you can join us over here, or we'll check on that in a little while. All right, Mayor, don't go anywhere. Let's bring on our acting chief engineering officer for the CMC, Clevon Watson. No stranger to this space. Welcome back, Clevon.
Thank you for having me.
All right. All right. So let's give Clevon some exam questions, but this is his area. So he's going to ace this one. All right. Clevon, so could you briefly explain the technical side of your role as acting chief engineering officer? What are some of your key responsibilities within the infrastructure and traffic management committee in terms of the support you provide?
Okay, let me first say good night to your viewers, and thanks for having me again. As the Chief Engineering Officer, acting, is a senior officer with responsibility for advising council on engineering matters in the parish. He's in charge of all the parochial roads and bridges that falls under the care, control, management, and superintendence of the corporation within the limits of the parish, and is responsible for the maintenance of those infrastructure. I'm also responsible for the maintenance of all buildings, such as the markets, tanks, ponds, cemeteries, transportation centers, and other property under the care and control of the corporation.
That's quite a bit there.
Oh, yes.
But as it relates though to the infrastructure and traffic management committee, my role for that committee is to update the committee on infrastructure works being carried out within the parish on a monthly basis. I update the committee on the state and maintenance of works done on our facilities monthly. I give reports on complaints and requests by the public on infrastructural matters. And I also update the committee on traffic management issues and solutions along the parochial roadways.
All right. And with that being said, let's update our viewers on some of the most pressing engineering challenges the parish is facing currently in terms of drainage systems. We know about the one Guinea Tree, long overdue, in terms of road maintenance and general urban development. How are these challenges being addressed? So share with us some of those challenges that we're experiencing across the parish and tell us what we're doing about it.
Cameras out. Yes. The parish faces several challenges regarding drainage systems and road maintenance, which significantly impact infrastructure and community safety. We face challenges such as aging infrastructure. There are a lot of outdated drainage systems and roads that require significant repair or replacement. You made mention of Gideon Tree. Notice that we have had a lot of flooding in Gideon Tree because the size of the drains can no longer accommodate the volume of water that is being produced in the town. We also have the challenges of funding. The corporation has limited funding, and this often hinder the ability to maintain and improve drainage systems and road systems. We also have the issue of climate change, where increased rainfall and extreme weather events can overwhelm the drainage systems and accelerate the deterioration of our road infrastructure. Urbanization is also a pressing issue, where rapid urban growth and increasing in impervious surfaces like parking lots, driveways, have increased the surface runoff for stormwater, hence putting an additional burden on our drains. We also have challenges with coordination with agencies like NWA, National Water Commission, as it relates to their work and our work. They're not coinciding. Sometimes we do roads and NWA or NWC goes in afterwards and do their repairs afterwards. But the corporation has identified solutions to some of these challenges. We've conducted comprehensive assessment of our existing road infrastructure to identify critical areas for upgrading and implement phase replacement so we can plan and spread costs over time. We've explored diverse funding sources, including grants from organizations like JSIF, TEF, TPDCO, and enter into partnerships with these entities so we can prioritize projects based on impact and urgency. Um, we've looked into resilient infrastructure such as permeable pavements to bring on board and enhance drainage design so we can handle higher volumes of water. We've encouraged developers within the parish to implement smart land use planning that include green spaces within these developments that they plan to hand over to the council over time to promote sustainable development practices. As the mayor mentioned, we conduct educational campaigns through town hall meetings to speak to the community about the importance of drainage systems and road upkeep, encouraging persons.
Go ahead. We lost you there for a minute.
I don't know where last me.
So you're encouraging citizens.
Yes, to our public education program in the sense of doing like town hall meetings and meetings in community meetings, educating the public about the effects of leaving like construction materials on the roadways or disposing of their garbage in our drains. Let's put a strain on the existing infrastructure. There's we're thinking about investment in smarter technologies like GIS mapping and so to improve monitoring and managing of our drainage systems. So these are some of the challenges, but we do have solutions for them. Some implemented already and some we're in the process of implementing.
All right. So the next question is, with all of this that's happening, you're having these town hall meetings. What's the ask from the citizens in terms of support? So we have Lloyd Edwards here sharing that he's into human development and reside in Racecourse Banks community, and indicating his company here, and that we all have to build our city and town. It's our responsibility. So here's one citizen that's ready to help. So when you go out to these town hall meetings, share with our virtual town hall audience what can we do to help the corporation.
Yes.
In Kerry. Yes. Or Mayor, you're sharing?
Something. It is just yesterday we should have had a town hall meeting in Rock River, but because of inclement weather, we had to postpone until next week, Wednesday. So I just say that to say this: we're engaging our community on a regular basis to get their input in the development of the town or their communities from which they are from.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to add to that, Clevon?
Just to say, there are many ways now we can interact with the community. You know, of our social media pages, persons can feel free to write to the corporation and express whatever is going on within their community, affecting their community. We do normal checks within the communities. We do check our social media pages. We tend to do visits within communities. Though we have a resource issue as it relates to the number of officers to cover the entire parish, we do try to visit as many divisions as possible throughout the month to ensure that we keep abreast with what is going on in these areas. So we do encourage citizens to reach out to the corporation. Remember, we can't be everywhere at once. So we do encourage them to reach out to us, express what is going on within these areas so we can do the necessaries.
All right. When they do reach out, how should they submit their concern? Is it directly to the CEO for these matters? And what happens after it's submitted to the CEO?
Well, correspondence received from the public normally goes to the CEO's office, and depending on the nature of the complaint or the issue, the CEO would assign it to a particular department. If it's a situation that it relates to road or infrastructure, they would forward it to the road and work department. We then assign an officer to do an investigation or do an inspection to see the exact issue. If there's a situation where there needs to be repairs, we do an assessment of the area or the issue. We do an estimate or a bill of quantities. Then we bring it to council, to our finance meeting to present it to the committee. First, we present it to the infrastructure committee, our findings, and they refer the bill of quantities that we have done or the budgeting that we have done to the finance committee for approval.
Okay. And in terms of a response, are you having any challenges? Because in some government agencies, there are a number of concerns because citizens sent a letter, the response is sent, but then it's returned. Are you having that kind of challenge where you respond to citizens and the correspondence is returned?
Not really.
Not aware.
No, I'm not aware of any like that.
Citizen will send you something, a letter, but there's no telephone number for you to return a call. Yeah. So we do face those challenges.
But normally, once there's a contact information, we normally contact the persons who reach out to the council and try to engage them on a personal level.
Okay, all right, great. Just want to ensure that the lines of communication keeps flowing. All right, let's step back a little and look at maintaining existing infrastructure. This is usually a balancing act, maintaining existing infrastructure while developing new projects. How do you and the team ensure both areas are adequately addressed?
Maintaining existing infrastructure while simultaneously developing new projects within the corporation presents a complex challenge that requires careful planning and budgeting and prioritization. Balancing these demands involves navigating financial, operational, and sometimes even political hurdles. We have some challenges we might face is like budget constraints, limited funding. Sometimes we have limited budget, making it difficult to allocate sufficient resources to both maintenance and existing infrastructure and developing new projects. So we tend to prioritize one over the other, which can lead to deterioration of another aspect of it. So we try to do comprehensive asset management, like implement our asset management system, whereas it helps the corporation track the condition of our existing infrastructure and prioritize maintenance based on urgency and long-term value. We figured out that this approach ensures that essential assets are maintained, preventing costly and emergency repairs. We do planning in terms of developing a long-term infrastructure master plan, which we're working on now. That includes both maintenance and new development projects. It will help us to align resources with a broader parish goals, such as our sustainable development plan. And this ensures that infrastructure within the parish is built and maintained in a coordinated and sustainable manner.
Okay. All right. Let me invite those who are here with us live. Remember, this forum is for you to ask your questions as well. If you have questions for the mayor or for our acting chief engineering officer, feel free to ask your question as the discussion progresses, so you can be clear on this area of infrastructure. We're talking about the infrastructure and traffic management committee, what it is that they do. How does the engineering officer work along with this committee to effect changes that's supposed to improve the lives of the citizens in Clarendon? So if you have questions, feel free to ask your questions here. All right. All right. So as we look to what's to come in terms of future plans, you were sharing some just now. But for the average citizen that just wants to know what's going to be happening in terms of the most typical one, your road and your lights, what's going on in that area? And I know there is usually concern about cemetery as well, this in terms of space and all of that. Mayor, you want to take that one?
Yes, if I may, I would have highlighted earlier on that
Right.
in and around Maypen we have identified 10 roads that will fall under the auspices of the Spark program, and we have some other roads that we will be sheet patching in short order. As you made mention of this cemetery, which I know it's a burning issue for Clarendonian, especially those who are living on the plain. I must say, I'm excited to say to you this evening that we have we are now in discussion, final discussion, with Jamalco, where we'll be getting from them 15 acres of land to develop our new cemetery. And we are almost at the final stage. We would have had a drawing of what our new cemetery will be looking like. And I'm pretty sure in short order, the people of Maypen and its environment will be pretty excited, as I do, when you see what we will be putting down for you to put your loved one at rest when that day comes.
All right. So outside of Maypen, any plans for any other area of the parish?
You're talking about cemetery?
Cemetery. Is there
Yes,
need
we would
for
have
any
had.
outside of Maypen?
Yeah, we'd have had what? Is it engineered 3 or 4 active ones in the hills?
Yes.
A
Yes.
matter of fact, yeah. Go
Yes, through
ahead.
funding from the Ministry of Local Government. I don't know if persons have been to like Chapelton, Suttons, and Pennant Cemetery recently. We have done a lot of cleaning in those cemeteries, creating additional space for burial, given the fact that Denby Cemetery can no longer accommodate a large amount of burials. So we tend to divert persons to those cemeteries in the hill. Chapelton have a lot of space, Suttons and the Pennant Cemetery.
Okay. Thank you for that. What's going on with our markets? Plans for the markets?
Yes, we would have done some work in the Maypen market over the last what? I think it's the last
month or two there.
between March, April. We'd have done significant improvement there. But I am disappointed to tell you that if I show you pictures of what the bathroom facilities in that market was looking like when we were through with it would amaze you. Person said to me, Mayor, these are bathroom are now looking like you're in the hotels. Huh? And unfortunately, we're not getting the good cooperation from those persons who utilize the market to keep those facility in high standard. They would have done disservice to what we would have put in the last 3 months. But we are going to go back there. We're going to ask them to, because they are our partners, and we want you to partner with us. You want good facilities. You have to make sure that you play your part by when you're using those facilities. You make sure that you keep it in a sanitary way so that it can other persons can go in and utilize. We would have done repairs to leaking roof there that you would have heard um, vendors in the market complain about over period of time. We have cleaned up section of the market that was in very, very poor condition. And we continue to do that which is necessary to make sure that that space is one that you will feel comfortable in going to the market, do your business, and get back to your resident. So we continue to build out. We would have done the same thing in Kellits. We would have
Frank,
done the same thing in Frankfield,
Frankfield and Spaldings.
right, and Spallings. Um, Mr. Watson could add more to what I've just said.
Yes, like as the mayor said, we've done some significant works, especially with the sanitary conveniences in the markets. Chapelton, Maypen, Frankfield, Kellits, and Spaldings. We have done significant work to the roof, to the leadership of the mayor, the roof of the Maypen market. And I'm pleased to say that even for the past couple of days, we've been having rain. We haven't received any complaints of leakage in the market for the first time in a long while. So
Yes.
we're pretty proud of that one. Thanks again, Your Worship. Um, so we are making strides as it relates to these facilities. We know how important they are to the economy of the parish. So we tend to keep them in a satisfactory manner so that persons who do business, whether you're a vendor or a shopper, um, we make sure that these facilities are in good order.
All right, great. We have some questions here. All right, Tony Lures. Is there any immediate plans to put in a traffic light at the intersection of Mineral Heights Boulevard and the Veer Main Road?
Yes, indeed.
Any
Yes,
timeline on that one?
Well,
it's amazing that these questions are coming. It was just today I sent off a letter to Mr. Hiji Hunter, advising him that I am waiting on the final recommendation from his traffic management committee of the National Works Agency, because I'm eager to get the work and to get some of those stoplights in place. So good question, and we are
Yes.
looking forward. I'm looking forward to have a quick response from the CEO of the National Works Agency, and we will have to find a forum for other forum where we can continue to update our residents on some of these questions that they're asking.
That's right. And with that being said, Lacey Taylor is asking, will we be getting a town hall meeting anytime soon for Four Paths and its environ?
I would say yes. We're going into. We should have been, as I've said before, we should have been in Rock River yesterday, but because of the rain, we were not able to go. We had to postpone. It will be next week, and certainly we will schedule one for Four Paths in short order.
All right, so do take note of that so you can fulfill that promise.
Commitment.
All right. All right. So, Mayor, what are the plans to expand the geographical commercial area of Mapen? We've been seeing where new businesses been established in the town. Things become more congested. What are the plans to expand commercial life further out? Also, oh, this is another part. Take that
Well,
one first.
if you notice, the commercial life is expanding in all four directions. Where
It is.
where there are a lot of new infrastructure development going down towards the hospital and towards Four Parts. There's also the same thing taking place going towards Paisley Avenue. There are a number of new businesses in that area and other business to come. One of which I can tell you, I met with a group of doctors out of Nigeria in April they have purchased the place already, and they intend to put a dental hospital for training and another business at that old Ashton location, just going towards Palmer's Cross, and they've just two doors up from Witter and Son.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
the
So
second part of the question here is asking, is saying that we need the Ministry of Health to update us on the expansion and upgrading of the Mapen Hospital. I think you can shed some light on that, Mayor.
yes, and I am happy to say that the plans are now being finalized. If you notice, to the front of the hospital, we are now putting up a new something that will enhance the hospital, which I expect to become the premier hospital in Clarendon, if not in Jamaica. So we're putting up a new wall there. We will be the other section to Denby Crescent that is now is ready to go to cabinet for the approval, because we intend to enclose the entire hospital surrounding. So you no longer have persons walking through, animal roaming, animal feeding, and so forth. And the IDB, International Inter-American Development Bank, will be putting in place a two-story building where the present car park is. As we speak, we are now relocating that car park to the back of the hospital, and that is presently in construction, in order to make space or make way for the new construction of the two-story building to begin. That is what we are finalizing now to go to cabinet for approval.
All right. So
And
geography. Yeah,
adding to that, there's also contract will going out shortly for the expansion of the clinic next door, and for the building of a new clinic, the one that is now beside the bus Veer Park. That will be relocated. I know that the last update I received is that they are finalizing the location for that new clinic to begin.
All right. And we're supposed to be getting, all the clinics are supposed to be refurbished based on
Right,
the plans from the health. Okay, great.
right.
All right. Another question from Lady Taylor here. Any plans to fix the Denby Drive to Yorktown Road soon?
It's a main road.
That's an NAA road, and we will do everything possible. And I will make sure that I have some word with the member of parliament. I would ask him to make sure that that road is on his park program, because, as I said, it's a major. That would be a major thoroughfare, and I believe that if we're going to have the kind of development that we are yearning for, then all those major corridors need to be fully upgraded, so that it gives easier access to residents and visitors to use If we're talking about Vernon Field, if we're talking, which is still on the agenda, if we're talking about further development of Milk River Bath, which I believe is still underutilized. We're not utilizing some of those infrastructure to the full economic benefit that we can get from them.
That's right. If we improve the roads going down to the Bath, I think we'll
Right.
have greater take up. Because the last
Yes.
time I went down there,
It was grief.
that's right. All
Yes.
right. All right. So this question, I knew we would have gotten this one. We spoke briefly about it earlier. So year after year, we have experienced flooding in the Tree area. Are there any plans to correct this situation? Where are we with that, Mayor? I know that has been on the agenda for years.
They would have done a plan to redevelop that area. Part of the problem in Tree, we don't have the space. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I know the engineers are looking at how they will be able to shift the drains from how they are the direction in which we have them now. How they're going to shift them possibly to make it more accessible to have water flow rather than have it stagnant in that area, because it doesn't have the size drain to carry the volume of water that goes through that area.
And if I may add there,
I know.
if I may add, we have had meetings with the hydraulic engineers from National Work Agency. We're currently working on a drainage plan for the town of Mapen, starting from Guinea Tree, going down across Church Street, Nelson Street, all the way down to the stoplight, getting into that major drain down by West Park. We're thinking about widening those drains, especially starting at the one at Guinea Tree, heading underneath the car park at the bank. There's a major concern because that's a very small drain. It cannot handle the volume of water heading down there now. So that is one of the plans that we're having now with the National Works Agency.
And I know one of the major concerns with this one was funding. Where are we with that? Are we there yet, or?
I wouldn't say that we're there fully as yet, but we are exploring various other avenues, because at this time we do have someone in house at the council who are exploring all the possibilities where we can find what you call green funding. This is grants, not funding, grants. And there are entities across the world that do, once you can identify them, you can get green funding to do things like those, like your drains, etc., etc. And we are exploring those possibilities, because we know that government will not have all the resources at the beginning of every financial year to do some of these things. So we, as a municipal corporation, we are exploring the possibility where we can find those grants to help us, and not just solely rely on government for those funding.
All right. So when the town hall goes to Mineral Heights and its environs, so Lores, you can ask for an update at that point to hear where they are with that.
I think what we will have to do with the demand of having the town hall meetings, I think what we'll have to do is to do a schedule. God's willing, next year we do a schedule for the first 6 months, so persons can know where the town hall meeting will be coming in the first quarter or the first half of the month and of the year, and then we do another one for the second half of the year.
Rotate.
By so doing, they will keep our resident informed of when their town hall meetings will be.
All right. And as we wind down, remember, if you have your questions, still go ahead and ask. All right. So we've been getting some questions there. All right. So we had indication earlier, and I know there are several citizens who would love to know what they can do to help with what's happening. So what opportunities exist for public-private partnerships to enhance infrastructure and traffic management across Clarendon? How can residents and businesses get involved?
I would say, well, you and I have been having some discussion, and I'm hoping I want to use this opportunity and this platform to say to those persons who are business people that have, we want to restructure our Chamber of Commerce to become very excited so that you can be able to participate in some of the things, and if not in all of the things that we have on the table, as it relates to the development of our town and the development of our parish. So you have the right person. You're hosting us this evening, Mrs. Witter. Get in touch with her. We have an exciting plan coming up. We need all hands on deck if Clarendon is going to become the premier parish of Jamaica. And we can become it. We have the potential. We have the people with the knowledge to do it. Get on board and let us do it.
Well said. All right. And my number is public, 876-871-8960. So feel free to reach out. WhatsApp. If you
Right.
call and you don't get me, just send me a WhatsApp message and I'll respond.
Right. And the number at the municipal corporation is 986-2234, 986-2216. Call myself as the mayor or the CEO. And my mobile number is 582-0967. I'm waiting. We are waiting. We're excited. Excited. And Maypen is going to become what we want it to be, with a very low crime rate too, because we're going to make sure that while we are doing all of these things, we're going to make sure that crime does not become a monster around us.
All right. Sir Mackenzie, welcome. Thanks for joining us. What happened to the installation of the stoplight at Savannah Cross?
Well, yes, that is something that I need to follow up on, because when they did the widening of that road, that section of the road, that was the commitment that a stoplight would have been placed there. And I will reach out to the traffic committee at the NWA as quickly as possible to get an update on that.
All right. Tony Lewis, Mayor, any plans to make your council meeting more citizen friendly?
It is citizen friendly right now. Any citizens can come on the second Thursday of every month to our meeting. It is open. So
Lewis, if you can expound on that.
We're asking those who are interested to come and to see what it is that your councillors are doing. Every month, second Thursday.
10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
All right.
Open to the public.
All right. So with that being said, if there are no more questions for those who are with us live, remember this is the first in a series of discussions where we're going to be engaging with the different committees at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, as well as the administrative arm. So you see how it all comes together, and you're to ask your questions. So we'll share the upcoming committee so you can put your thoughts together. So when you come, you can ask a question. Let's see, there's a comment here. Ava, thanks for tuning in. Roadway in Longville Park phase, is that 3, Ava? Need fixing urgently. Which phase is that? Let us know which phase of Longville Park, because there are so many phases.
Well, I can speak to that one.
Okay.
We're in dialogue with the scheme, the entire scheme, phase 1, 2, and 3, 2A. has not formally been handed over to the corporation as yet, but we're in dialogue with National Housing Trust. We've been to the scheme. We've identified some issues within the scheme, and NHT has given their commitment in sorting out these issues in short order. They've already did their visits. I think they're in the process of assigning a contractor to do the works within that area now.
Okay, she was mentioned phase 3 is in that.
Yes, phase 3.
Oh,
Phase
okay.
phase 2, sections of phase 2, phase 2A, phase 3.
Okay. All right. We have a question here over on Instagram. How can the council assist with detached youths and violence in schools in Clarendon?
The corporation works very closely with the police, and we do have a number of agencies. Mr. Mackenzie could speak to that also. We have DSP Owen Brown. All you have to do is to reach out to us, and we will get those entities that do help with these kind of types of initiative to get involved. I know Mr. Mackenzie does a lot of that through some of the other agencies that he works very closely with.
Okay. And we have the Youth Innovation Center. That's a space for youth. So you can channel your request through that. There's a lot of work being done between the SDC and the Community Safety and Security branch to reactivate the different clubs in the parish. So just reach out to those entities. So Lures, what we were saying is that there are other forums. In this space, we have the Local Governance and Community Development Live Forum every 4th Thursday. And we have a series where we're going to be engaging with the different committee chairs and the supporting arm. So you can ask your questions just as though we have asked your questions here. You have been very active. So the comment was for those who have not been so active in terms of asking their questions live. Some people might need some time to formulate what they want to ask so they can ask the question live, not to send in their question. So that's what we're saying. For those who would want to ask questions, they can put them together. All right. So 4th Thursdays, we have local governance and community development. And for those who are cultural enthusiasts, 1st Thursday for that. And in terms of updates from like the hospital things, community-based events, that 3rd Thursday in our community corner. And we do have a youth forum for the person who asked about youth, the detached youth. We do have a youth leadership forum on 5th Thursdays. So you can check out the playlist on that to see what other youth are doing in different areas of the country, because we have been engaging with youth leaders from across the island on that. All right, the JUTC bus is significantly impaired. Mayor, you have any info on the JUTC system that goes to Longville Park?
I know that is a cry from the schools for some time now. And I will make sure that is on my list to discuss with Minister Vaz to have the rollout back to Clarendon in quick and short succession. You and I know the challenges, and I must say my condolences to the parent of those 2 kids who have passed off because of unruliness with some of our operators who are transporting our kids. And we're going to try and make sure that we do everything in our power that is possible to get back the JUTC back on stream within the parish to help to transport our children in a very healthy, good condition, so that they can get to school in a proper way in the morning and be taken back home in one pieces, if I may use that term.
All right. There's a request for a bus from Longville Park to Maypen. So you can add that to the route. All right. So Mackenzie
But
sharing that SDC club.
there are buses now from Langsdale Park to Kingston in the morning.
No,
Question
to
I'm
Maypen.
asking.
The request is from Longville Park to Maypen.
Oh, okay.
You're right. So we add that to the schedules. All right. So Mackenzie sharing that SDC clubs in school is one of the many initiatives used to reach out to the students in schools. All right. And we have Police Youth Club in schools. But the question was for detached, and it's the Youth Innovation Center that is the umbrella group in the parish that engages and find innovative ways to engage those youth who are detached. As a matter of fact, I just made connection with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security and the Youth Innovation Center because they need more males to apply for the work program. So there's an opportunity right there to engage either directly with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security for their work program or go through the Youth Innovation Center so you can get access to that and share with others, please. All right. Happy we were able to answer your question, Sir Edwards. He says that his question was answered even though he did not physically speak out. So thank you for that. All right. So Mackenzie sharing that the Clarendon Interagency Network is working on a proposal looking at Clarendon's Safe School program. So we're looking forward to that. All right, because we all are concerned about the safety of the children and we have to do whatever we can to take care of that. All right, so I trust that this first forum in the series where we shared with you a little more about the Infrastructure and Traffic Management Committee, what's happening and what's the plan in terms of the future plans. I hope that you are able to get your questions answered. And Mayor has committed, let me make it clear, committed to taking care of some of your requests. And for those who are just joining us, I see some new people following on Instagram. Thank you for following. I trust that you'll share the information. We do these forums every Thursday at 8 p.m. looking at different aspects of development, culture, economics, local governance, community development in general, and youth development as well. So do stay tuned, follow, subscribe across the Serenity Resource Connector platform. Also to our website so you can get access to our blog. For those who are not able to sit and watch the 1 hour discussion, you can get the highlights from the website and they are categorized so you can check those out. So come Monday, God's willing, you'll get a blog recapping what was discussed here so you can see the highlights and you can come back here for further details. Mayor, let me thank you so much for making yourself available to sit in for our chairman for the Infrastructure and Traffic Management Committee, our Deputy Mayor, Clive Mundell. And thank you so much, Clevon Watson, Acting Chief Engineering Officer for the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, for sharing space here with us and sharing what you do on a daily basis so that we can have a better understanding of what's happening, what the challenges are, and not just the challenges, but the solutions that you're working on and how we can support you in getting it done. Thanks to those who have offered to be a part of the mission to develop Clarendon and by extension Jamaica. And for those who asked their questions and participated, thank you ever so much. Remember, as I always ask you, don't keep it to yourself, please share so that others can become aware of what's happening and how they can be a part of the change that they want to see. That being said, have yourself a fantastic rest of the evening.
Thank you very much for having us.
The Local Governance and Community Development Live Forum was brought to you by the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, working for you always. Visit the Serenity Resource Connector website at www.serenityresourceconnector.com. Subscribe for our weekly blog post. Join us again on Thursday at 8 p.m. Thank you for watching.